besides everything was so close.
It's just difficult terrain.
Yeah.
There are things called the wadis there, and that's where
Sounds like a Star Wars character.
It does sound like it, yeah, but they're the crevices you see in the hills, and they look just like crevices that have been chiseled out or something like that. It's actually where the storms, when they finally do come during the rainy season, the floods come from the mountains, and if you're in a wadi when that happens, you're deady. If you're in the wadi when that happens. And that's the kind of stuff when you're sitting there and you're looking up at those, and many people have been caught in them.
Wow.
Yeah, they're just caught in them, and there's really no way out. And I can't hike the way I used to. Yeah. Because I was 17 when I first went to Israel.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, and I'm in my late 20s now, so it's just nothing's as easy. So I don't think that I'm ever going to be able to study the way I always have. This latest trip of mine, I think I just sort of started to feel like, oh, okay, Kath, maybe. Maybe we've got to find a new way up the mountain.
But you'll never stop going.
No, but I'll never stop growing. And we're so glad that you guys are joining us for the study. I mean, there is something new every single day I learn in this beautiful creation God provided for us. It's still a garden. We just have to go looking for it sometimes.
Yes, absolutely. I think that when you really study Scripture, you see what the wilderness journey parallels. You see the metaphors, you see the symbolism. But I know, based on your stories and other friends who've gone, there's nothing like visiting. I think everyone who believes in Messiah should visit the Holy Land. I think that there's so much to be learned, and it's impossible, although our study's really, really rich, and you will see it come to life. You'll see the characters of the Bible come to life through their desert experiences. And through our own parallels, we see the Messiah woven throughout. But going there, I think should be a destination for everybody.
We're on everybody's bucket list. Yep. All right, so what's the word we have for desert?
So the word desert and wilderness we'll use interchangeably because there are different aspects to study. And in the Hebrew and the Greek, we learn different things. But what we need to know as a backstory is that the desert in these areas is so dry and it's so arid, but it had good routes to go through it. People didn't want to stay there unless they were running from the law or they were seeking solace with God. What an interesting thing. We have outlaws and we have people seeking solace with God. And when we look at it...
Or hiding in case of David.
Exactly. And so when we look at his life, we also have to look at the life of John the Baptist. John the Baptist lived most of his life in the wilderness, and yet think about him being the forerunner for Jesus, and he heard from God in the desert.
The voice of one crying from the wilderness.
Exactly.
Prepare the way.
Yeah.
Prepare the way.
Here we are. Yeah. The Byzantine era had a fantastic explosion of monks seeking this refuge in the desert. So in the 6 AD, there's such an interesting explosion of these people looking for God in the wilderness. And there were more than 65 monasteries out in the middle of nowhere, people looking for God in the desert. We never want to have a desert experience, personally.
Yeah.
But isn't it interesting how many people sought him in those places?
And most of the real lessons in life that I have grappled with and wrestled with the most have been in the desert.
Yes.
When I saw the wilderness for the first time, it just takes your breath away. And I just thought, nobody could survive this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And don't we often, as believers, say, how am I ever going to survive this? But there are so many stories in the Bible of people that felt that way.
Yes.
Who would we read about in the Bible, Joanne, who also had desert experiences like that?
Well, I think that when we look at Abraham, look at his life, Abram, who became Abraham, he was in a wilderness type of experience. So whether it's a physical desert or it's a spiritual desert, we're talking about the same thing. When you look at a desert as we're looking at behind us, it seems that it is void of human, of having any human in it. But we know through the Bible, people survived there. It's also depicted in the Bible as a spiritual place of exile.
Yes.